Hello planning meshers and welcome to one more weekly Plan With Me video. So in October I am really extremely busy and I have a bunch of things going on, so I really need my extra space. That's why I decided that October will be my Dutch door spread kind of month. In my last weekly Plan With Me, I created a Dutch door with a little bit more space for my goals and notes, but this week I decided to go with something a little bit more drastic, and yes, I'm cutting my journal as crazy. The idea is that this is gonna be a bunch of daily spreads, but on the top I will have a weekly review. Weekly review is super useful, and that's where I write such things as any appointments, any family engagements, and just deadlines, basically stuff I always have to have in front of me to remember and make sure I'm ready for it. But the rest of the page are going to be just dailies, so I'll have plenty of space to do all my to-do lists and to write whatever notes I have and what have you. So to create this spread, I started from figuring out how much space I need for my dailies and actually counting how many pages will go to become my daily spreads, because obviously I don't want to cut anything extra. Then I just used usual scissors to cut out the larger part, and I used small, more precise scissors to cut out close to the binding, just to make sure that it's all clean and I'm not ruining the binding. Since my main goal with this weekly is actually to make it as productive as possible and to give as much space for myself as possible, I am going pretty simple with the decorations. But as you can see, my weekly setup started with a mistake. For some reason I thought it's week 42. So yeah, that's what I wrote. But again, because it's a blackout book, it's so easy to fix these mistakes. I just used Feud pen, and just like that, now it's week 41. It's a neat trick, and I think I talk about it in my every video with the blackout book, but it's really my favorite and an absolute lifesaver. And speaking of supplies, mostly I'm using here Sakura jelly rolls, the white ones and the ones from Metallic collection. But of course, as always, all of my supplies will be linked in the description. So for my weekly overview, I don't really need a lot of space because it's just one or two things per week. I don't really have that many engagements or deadlines, so just small boxes are fine for me. But of course, if you need more, feel free to cut down larger pieces. It really depends on whatever you need for your weekly setups. So because it's 7 days, but of course I have 8 sides, one of the side is going to be my to-do list and a weekly checkup. I started doing weekly checkups on my weekly spreads from last week, and I find it really useful. It kind of gives me an idea on how productive I actually was during the week. So I'm keeping this format for now, and we'll see how it goes. I will show you how I'm setting up my Monday, and the rest of the pages I will speed up a lot because it's basically the same thing. So what I need on my daily spread, apart of a huge to-do list and maybe some notes, are three things. First of all, it's a top priority, so it's the main task I definitely have to complete during the day. I find this practice very useful, and it kind of keeps me accountable and makes sure that the most important stuff is getting done and I'm not procrastinating. Second thing is time worked. I like to monitor how much time I'm actually spending working, and then kind of comparing it to what I actually achieved. That way I kind of can see whether it was a good day for me, or what should be adjusted to make it better next day. And that's why I have this other category, which is my productivity counter. So based on how much time I worked and how much work I actually completed during the day, I will be evaluating my each day according to how I feel about my productivity. And as you can see, I went really simple. I didn't create anything. There's just one doodle on the corner of the page to make sure that I remember that it's a Halloween month. So I added some creepiness. But with the rest, it's just a lot of space for whatever thoughts and notes, and of course my to-do lists. So I know a lot of people feel very awkward cutting out their journals. I was the one like that for a very long time. It's pretty scary. And I must say that, of course, it does damage your journal. And when I will be setting up the next weekly, I will be feeling how on the back my pages are not straight and something is a bit wrong. But the trick I'm using to kind of make sure that it's more or less evened out and it's not that damaging is using a different format for each of my Dutch door spreads. So each week I'm cutting out different pieces, so hopefully it kind of evens it out and just makes sure that the journal doesn't fall apart. Of course, I am linking here to the playlist of all my other weekly plan with me videos. So I will see you in the next video. Keep bullet journaling and don't be a blob. Bye!